Lost his life along with 400 plus black soldiers on the assault on Fort Wagner in South Carolina. If you saw the movie Glory starring Matthew Broderick, that's what the movie was about. It was about the assault on Fort Wagner, the ill-advised assault on Fort Wagner. I love Discover trolleys here. They just park there all day long, Brownie, you know? Like, they just park there so people... Yeah, they're just idiots. All right, as we make the left-hand turn, look over to the left. You're going to see a statue there of Mary Dyer. Right there to the left, Mary Dyer, looking pretty sad and with good reason. Mary came here with the Pilgrims and the Puritans in the 1630s, and all she wanted was the freedom to practice her Quaker religion. She wasn't given that freedom. She was expelled from Boston 3 times, told never to come back. She kept coming back. She loved the city. Finally, she was hanged on the Boston Common simply because she was a Quaker. And I say, isn't it supremely ironic that the Pilgrims and Puritans leave England and Oliver Cromwell and all of that religious persecution? They get here to this country, they have zero tolerance for anybody that's not a Calvinist Puritan. All right, right above the Capitol Coffee House here, right above it, John F. Kennedy had an apartment in 1946 when he was elected to the 11th Congressional District as a congressman. John F. Kennedy. On the left here, the big stone church, St. John the Evangelist Church. In the 1850s, that's a congregational church. The minister's name is Beecher, Lehman Beecher. Lehman has a very famous daughter. What's her name?
Harriet Beecher Stowe.
That's right, Harriet Beecher Stowe, and she writes the novel Uncle Tom's Cabin. The first book in the United States, besides the Bible, to sell over 1 million copies. President Lincoln says of Harriet, he says it's really this lady here who's responsible for the war. And of course he means it as a compliment. Harriet raises the consciousness of millions of Americans to the evils and ills of slavery. All right, on the right front of the trolley, the Old West Church over there to the right. That was designed by Asher Benjamin in 1806. He was a student of Charles Bulfinch. Now in 1960, that was a polling place. And there's a very famous photograph. I have a copy of a book that I got when I was 10 years old. There's a very famous photograph of Jack and Jackie Kennedy coming down those steps right after they voted for Richard Nixon in the 1960 presidential election. No. All right, I just want to see if you're awake. All right? Folks, you got to pay attention because when you want to get off the trolley, there's a multiple choice quiz. And if you can't answer the questions of what I've been talking about, then the trolley becomes like Jean-Paul Sartre's play No Exit, and you can't get off the trolley. Anybody want to get off here at stop number 8? All right, so the next stop will be in Cambridge.
That's where Harvard is, isn't it?
That's right. We don't go into Harvard Square, though, ma'am, but the Cambridge City Council voted to preclude the trolley business from being able to go in there.
Okay.
I'm told they used to go in there years and years ago, but no longer. All right, off to the right is the campus of Mass General Hospital once we get beyond this Massachusetts chain of coffee shops. Is that the coolest name you've ever seen for a coffee shop? Finagle a Bagel. Finagle a Bagel. I mean, what the hell does Starbucks have on Finagle a Bagel?
We finagled one yesterday.
A much more expensive cup of coffee, that's what they have. When you're in Boston, do me a favor, folks. Have a cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts or Finagle a Bagel. You don't need to take out alone to buy the cup of coffee, and it's a much better cup of coffee. I hate Starbucks. You know, usually when I say that, one time a regional manager from the Midwest, guy said to me, "You were going to get a $5 tip, now I'm not going to give you anything." I told him he needed to have a sense of humor. But Dunkin' Donuts, it's a Boston-based company. All right, so Mass General goes off blocks and blocks down here to the right. It is the teaching hospital affiliated with Harvard Medical School. People literally come from all over the world to be treated at Mass General. Now, right around the corner, you're going to see a stone building that's getting a facelift. Once we make the turn, that stone building getting the facelift, that used to be the Charles Street Jail. The Charles Street Jail opened up in 1848. When it opened in the sign of a cross, the designer, something of a secular humanist, built it in the shape of a cross. He felt that all 331 jail cells should experience, if not sunlight, at least daylight a portion of the day. It stopped being the jail in 1990. It lay dormant for about 15 years. And finally, the Commonwealth sold the property to the hospital, and they're now building a hotel. Now look what their very clever marketing people are doing. You guys on the right side of the trolley, you see what they're naming the hotel? The Liberty Hotel. It used to be a jail. There's a sign that says Liberty Hotel, be captivated. Talk about a karmic change of energy. From a jail to a hotel. Just think of the erotic possibilities. All right, this is the Charles River. Down by the banks of the good old River Charles. Well, I love that dirty water. Oh yeah, Boston, you're my home. When they wrote those lyrics, the river was disgustingly polluted. They built a water filtration plant in 1979, and they've been cleaning the water ever since. It's now so clean you can swim in it. In fact, the Cambridge City Council is voting on a resolution to reopen Magazine Beach. I grew up here in Cambridge. My father swam in Magazine Beach. Excuse me for just a moment. Yes. I'm approaching 9, and I'm full. I picked up a boat full of people that stopped at the 6 and 7. I don't have a single seat. So Cambridge here. Cambridge is where I grew up. I went to grammar school and high school here. In fact, including kindergarten. I survived 9 years of Catholic grammar school. It's cost a lot of money in therapy. But I'm going to be all right. All right, this building over here to the right, the Volpe Transportation Building, that was actually built by Kennedy. That was supposed to be the headquarters of NASA. National Aeronautic Space Association. Well, we all know what happened. President Kennedy got assassinated. His running mate, Lyndon Johnson, was from Texas. And Lyndon did what any good politician would do, right? He took care of his own constituency. So Nassau, which was supposed to be here, never really got started here, moved down to Houston.
And we have Cape Kennedy in Florida, where I live.
We have a problem, Houston. Remember that in Apollo 13?
Yeah.
See, I maintain if NASA stayed here in Cambridge, they never would have had a problem. You're not going to convince me that the people in Houston, Texas are smarter than the MIT scientists here in Cambridge. Now, if you're from Houston, for God's sake, have a sense of humor. All right? I will tell you this, though, folks. I was in the 4th grade at St. Peter's School for God and Country when Kennedy was assassinated, and the whole country was certainly in mourning. But Cambridge was in mourning big time because they knew they just lost billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of money that would have been pumped into this economy over the next 30, 50, 70, 100 years. So Cambridge really lost out big time. Okay, around the corner here is stop number 9, the only stop in Cambridge, Kendall, MIT. Anybody getting off? All right. Watch your step. Watch your step as you get off, folks. Watch your step, and I hope you enjoyed the tour. Watch your step getting off.
Do you have a map here? I mean, the map? I don't have that.
I don't. Down, you can get one down at the aquarium. Anybody else getting off? Will you let him get off, please?
Sure.
Thank you very much. All right. Anybody want a cold drink? Anybody want a cold drink?
How much?
$1.
$1, folks.
And folks, I want you all to know. Nobody? Well, you know what? You're probably familiar with it, and you don't even know you are. Frank Gehry did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio. He also did the Jimi Hendrix Museum in Seattle, Washington, built in the shape of a guitar. Did you all know Jimi Hendrix was from Seattle? Are you experienced? Have you ever been experienced?
I don't think so.
Is anybody on the trolley getting the illusion? Are you experienced? Have you ever been experienced? There's no aging hippies on board, huh?
No.
That was one of Jimmy's famous songs. Are you experienced? Are you ever been experienced? I think he was talking about hallucinogenic drugs. But I already told you I went to Catholic school, so you know I didn't do any of that. Well, Frank Gehry did a building here on the MIT campus called the Stata Building, where they do research on artificial intelligence, robotics, and voice recognition systems. And if you look underneath the archway here, to the left, there's the Stata Building. Check it out, folks.
What building is that?
That's the Stata Building, where they do research on artificial intelligence.
Oh, you see that over there?
Folks, you know what? Frank Gehry was experienced.
You able to get it okay?
Yes.
So, Brownie, I've been hearing these rumors that Matthew is gone after October. Yeah, that they, and that's not his choice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I say it couldn't have happened to a nicer man. All right, so we're going to take a left here and go down Vassar Street. And if you look down the left, there's the other side of the Stata Building. So there it is. Everybody see it? All right, folks.
Oh, building, huh? So they do research in artificial intelligence.
Folks, we're going to conduct a little poll. And there's no equivocation here, all right? You got to take a stand. Thumbs up if you like Frank Gehry's work. Thumbs down if you don't. Let's do the poll. Gentleman in the green shirt.
That's me.
Yes, you had your thumb down. I would like you to articulate for us why you don't like the work. I'm just curious.
I
like a more traditional type of architecture, that's all.
All right, that's fair enough. He likes traditional architecture. Whenever people put their thumb down, I always ask at least one person on the trolley to articulate for me why they don't like it, because I like to collect opinions.
Love architecture.
A month ago, I had a guy sitting right there where this gentleman's sitting, and he said, I don't like it because it offends my sense of propriety and order. And then I asked the guy if he was an accountant, and he was. Honest to God, he was.
So ask someone that does like it.
Why? Okay, let me ask one of you that put your thumbs up that did like it. Can you articulate for me why you like it? Everybody's afraid of public speaking, it seems.
It's original.
Yeah, the guy shows a lot of daring and courage, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, if architects and artists and sculptors and painters and musicians kept repeating the same classical forms over and over again ad nauseum, it'd make for a pretty dull world. The thing about Frank Gehry is he takes big, bold chances. All right, man, this is it. This is the main part of the MIT campus. The building on the left is the William Barton Rogers building. He's the guy that founded MIT across the river in the Back Bay in 1866. It was called the Boston Institute of Technology. When they moved across here to Cambridge in 1916, they changed the name to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Over. This is technically known as the Harvard Bridge. But I grew up in Cambridge, and anybody that grew up in Cambridge or Boston, nobody calls this the Harvard Bridge.
They call it the Cambridge Bridge.
No, they call it the Mass Ave Bridge. It's simply the Mass Ave Bridge. Now, there's a guy that pledged for a fraternity at MIT. His name was Oliver Smoot. Oliver Smoot, S-M-O-O-T-S. And folks, look over here on the sidewalk. You guys on the right. Can you see those markings in the sidewalk? Can you see them, sir? Those are called smoots. When Oliver Smoot was pledging for a fraternity, they told him that he had to measure the Mass Ave Bridge using a non-standard form of measurement. So he and his buddies that were pledging for the fraternity decided to use his body. So he laid down, got up, laid down, got up, laid down, got up, 364.4 times. And those are smoots. And every time they wash off, they just repaint the smooth markings back on the bridge. And somebody told me that his daughter was recently at MIT, and she was trying to lay down and change the measurement to her body size. All right, this is Marlborough Street on the left. Pulitzer Prize-winning poet Robert Lowell lived up there about 4 doors to the right with his second wife, Jean Stafford. When he was teaching poetry and English at Harvard University, that's when Robert Lowell was not at McLean Hospital, the psychiatric hospital affiliated with Mass General. Robert Lowell suffered mightily from manic depression, which now has a newfangled name called bipolar disorder. But Robert Lowell, in my opinion, wrote some of his most amazing poetry when he was in a high manic phase. And in the wintertime, I teach seminars on modern poetry at independent living facilities, and I use some of Robert Lowell's poems. He was married to Jean Stafford, and they both won the Pulitzer Prize in '62. She for her short stories in fiction, and him for his collection of poetry. All right, this is Commonwealth Avenue. This is also the Boston Marathon route. If you took a right here on Com Ave and you drove for 10 miles, you'd be at Boston College, which is technically not really in Boston. It's in Newton, Massachusetts. All right, as we go through this intersection, very, very important, sports fans. Look way down to the right, the big green wall with the Red Sox. Fenway Park, the home of the Red Sox, and it's a ground ball to Folk. He stabs it. The underhand toss to first. And the Red Sox are world champions for the first time in 86 years. Can you believe it? The voice of Joe Castiglione. No, none of us could hardly believe it 3 Octobers ago. Down 3-0 to the hated rival New York Yankees. Humiliated, embarrassed, and thoroughly disgraced. In Game 3 by a score of 19-8. I can still see the smirks on the faces of Jason Giambi and Gary Sheffield, those steroid frauds. They weren't smirking 5 days later when the Red Sox pulled off the most improbable comeback in the history of sports. Let me walk you through it. Game 4, Fenway Park, the bottom of the 12th inning. Walk-off home run, David Ortiz. Game 5, the bottom of the 11th inning, Fenway Park. Walk-off single up the middle, David Ortiz. Game 6, back to Yankee Stadium. Curt Schilling and the bloody sock. The Red Sox win in a tightly contested battle, 4-3. Game 7, Yankee Stadium, a blowout. Johnny Damon hits a grand slam in the second inning to make the score 6-0. And the Red Sox go on to win the game by a score of 10-3. All right, the next stop around the corner here is the Back Bay Hilton in Sheraton.
By the way, the Red Sox had their training camp where I live in Fort Myers, Florida.
Oh, yeah.
They get people coming every year to sell out down there.
Yeah, sure. All right, folks, this is stop number 10. Anybody getting off here? Nobody getting off?
Will we be coming to Harvard Square, or we haven't?
Oh, no, we don't go to Harvard Square. Hi.
Hi, it's 5 of us, yeah.
Okay, we got 5. Not together, but we've got 5, I think.
Oh, 6.
All right.
Let her ask. Get up here.
Folks, I'm not going to have the room. You're going to have to wait for the next trolley. I'm full. Yeah, there'll be another one in about 15 minutes.